Welcome to Some Stutter. This is our Valentine's Day episode, and today we're going to be talking about relationships, dating someone who stutters, anything that falls into that realm. We'll think about talking about it.
In today's episode, we're going to be listening to an interview that Greg did with resident Some Stutter love experts, Carolina and Sang, and we're going to ask Paul some questions about a little bit of academic research on how stuttering can affect the dating lives of college students.
And so there's a research study that was published in College Student Journal in March 2013 by Robert Mayo and Carolyn Mayo. And this paper was titled College Students' Perspectives on Dating a Person Who Stutters. And what they did was they gave a survey to 132 college students examining their attitudes and their ideas and beliefs about stuttering and people who stutter. And then they asked them ultimately, would you date a person who stutters? Would you consider dating? And what do you think the number of respondents, or the percentage of respondents who said, yes, I would date a person who stutters? Well, it is quite low. In fact, they said 30% of respondents stated they would date a person who stuttered.
Wait, did you say it was 30% who said they would date a person who stutters? So
30%.
70% said no thank you?
That's right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Holy moly.
Yeah. And
quite low.
That does not surprise me at all.
Mm-hmm.
That there's a low percentage of students who would date, and I also apply that to adults as well, because there's so much emphasis placed on communication in this day and age.
For sure.
That there's a lot of sort of
That's true.
stereotypes.
For sure.
Did the article go into anything about their thought process or why or things?
So one of the main findings from the study was that there were at least 3 factors cited by college students as important in their decision to date someone who stutters. And those are the personality of the person who stutters, the stuttering severity, and overall appearance. So some of those things are kind of familiar they'd work for anybody, stutter or not stutter. Personality, appearance, those seem to be...
Those are pretty universals, I think, when it comes to college students dating. So, and then
Exactly.
the second one, it's rough and unfair, but I can't say I'm really surprised about it. Maybe things like having this podcast and spreading messages of hope and awareness can also reduce that second factor of stuttering severity.
Right. Yeah, stuttering severity, I don't know if that's a way of saying, it's essentially saying, I would date a person who stutters as long as they don't stutter very much.
So, Greg, you have personal experience in this way. What was it like for you when you were a young man out on the dating scene? I know you've been married for a long time now, but I know a long time ago you also tried harder to hide your stutter, whereas now you're more about living with it and managing it.
Based on my history as being a professional covert stutterer who actually specializes in covert stuttering, I found the dating scene very awkward and very uncomfortable, because I knew that if as soon as I tried to connect with somebody to date, I knew that I would be judged completely, and the whole sort of the stigma, stereotyping would come in. So I felt at this point that as the research was saying, that I had to work on my personality, my parents, my looks. So really, my history of dating was really based on physical appearance and hiding my stuttering. But unfortunately, because of the perceived pressure that I put on myself to conform just to be accepted and to fit in, and also to just to get it made. That I also worked. I also worked against myself because I actually lost my sense of authenticity, my sense of individuality, and unfortunately, I entered relationships that was based on a lie. When all said and done, because if people who stutter force themselves or feel pressure to work on their appearance, their personality, they're really setting themselves up for uh, failure. Because I feel that the focus now, which I learned the hard way, is to focus on my stuttering, trying to manage my stuttering in an authentic way, not to please anybody, but to please myself. And then once I learned once I took treatment and learned how to manage my stuttering, I felt more confident to go into the dating world.
So when you were reading this article, was it like, did it feel like it was singing to the choir?
Singing to the choir.
Singing, wait, that's a mixed metaphor, isn't it?
Preaching
Preaching to the choir.
Preaching to the choir. Singing to the choir.
Singing to the choir. When you were reading this article, so therefore, was it like, yeah, like as a stutterer and someone who's dated, why does there need to be an academic article about this?
Mm-hmm.
This is life.
Well, I feel that these articles are very important to bring to the public awareness, because it also reminds people who stutter not to do these things, because it's their choice. But based on my history, I had entered several relationships based on a lie, because I sort of was trying so desperately hard to come across as fluent, chasing the F words, fluency.
Yeah.
That I actually entered a relationship based on a lie, and many of my mates at the time didn't even know the severity of my stutter, and then for a few years.
And you mentioned this in your upcoming autobiography, Greg. I think you mentioned the term "smoke and mirrors."
You're right, Paul. Because to be honest with you, because I was so desperate, I based my whole dating, not only dating, just personal, professional relationships, dating as well, and what I call smoke and mirrors, because I actually developed a lot of camouflaging and self-sabotaging behaviors, which is I really structured my window dressing. I also call it window dressing.
Right.
They're carefully structured window dressings to appear as fluent. Unfortunately, I lived in angst, thinking that, is this the moment or is this the time that all my window dressing will come crashing down? So really, when all is said and done, my story is also based on looks and legs. I depended so much on my looks and legs just to get through.
So Greg, I don't know if our listeners and viewers know this, and I hope it's okay to bring into the conversation, but with your looks and legs and trying to hide your stutter as a young man on the dating scene, you had an additional hurdle as because of your sexual orientation.
Definitely.
Could you talk about that a little?
Definitely hurdle. Oh yeah, because this this is also called a double whammy, because I was trying desperately not only hide my stuttering, but I was also trying to hide my sexuality as well as being gay, and it is also quite different because I'm gay. Going into I'm in the gay world. There was so much emphasis placed on looks, for example, that one has to make sure that you look good and wore the same brand name clothing, things like that. But when you're living in a straight world, it's also called passing twice, because we try to hide our stuttering just to fit in, and then we also try to hide our sexuality. So this is called passing twice, and there is an organization called Passing Twice, and there's a great article by Robert Rowe, and it's called double whammy. The pressure put on gay and lesbian people, the LGBT plus community to come across as straight and to come across as fluent. So there's a double whammy, which creates one hell of a lot of pressure on people who stutter.
Yeah, I think there's a part in the interview that our listeners are really going to enjoy that speaks to something you said, Greg, about entering a relationship in a state of a lie or deception, where you're trying to pretend that you're something you're not. If you're more fluent than you really are, or something like that. And you asked them about that, and their response and your discussion about that topic, I think, was really interesting, and I think will be of particular interest to our listeners when they get to that point in the interview.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of gems and pearls of wisdom that come from Seng and Carolina. They've been together for a number of years, and
they've been on the podcast for a number of years.
That is true too. I think this is their fourth appearance on Some Stutter. So we love them, and
we do. I mean, they're part of the family, Paul. And Seng are a long distance couple. They Seng lives in New York. He's a senior IT manager, and Carolina lives in Toronto, and she's a home care worker. But they met each other 6 years ago now, and it's a long distance love affair. And we always hear that long distance love affair do not last, but it's working for both of them, and they're very authentic people, because I mean they're very open, and they disclose their stuttering, and yes, I mean their stuttering brought them together because they met each other at various conferences and workshops. One pearl of wisdom that they left us with is risking. They encourage anybody who's considering, or who is apprehensive about entering into a relationship with another person who stutters, to risk it.
If you're still watching this video, you should risk liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. We've got some great content coming for you in the coming weeks, and if you subscribe, you won't miss it. If the content is important to you, or you think it could help someone around you, someone who stutters, or someone who loves someone who stutters, like and share, so that you teach YouTube and the algorithm that our content is valuable and it needs to be in front of more eyeballs.
And also, Paul and Laura and I wish all of our listeners, whether you have a partner or not, or if you're dating or have someone special, a happy Valentine's Day.
Absolutely. Happiest Valentine's Day to everyone. Let's hear from our resident experts on stuttering, love, and dating, Carolina and Seng.
Yay, yay. Today, Some Stutter Law warmly welcomes Carolina Eljaya and Seng Lam. Welcome to a special Valentine's episode of Some Stutter Law. It is great to have you both back again. Today, Some Stutter Law is honored and privileged to have Carolina and Seng as returning guests. And if my memory serves me right, this is your fourth episode on Some Stutter Law. And I think we've done 3 Valentine's episodes, which is wonderful. Carolina and Seng are a long-distance duo in their mid-40s. They look like they're in their teens, to be honest with you. And Seng is an IT senior manager from New York, and Carolina, a community support worker from Toronto. Next month, they will be celebrating their 6th anniversary. Congratulations. 6th anniversary. I mean, that is quite the feat. That's quite the feat.
Yes.
Being 2 people that stutter, plus now, in a committed relationship, that takes a lot of confidence and a lot of courage. And so sharing of your stories will help motivate a lot of other people who are struggling with their own stories and your own stuttering. So thank you both very much for being change makers and influencers.
Oh, wow. That's so kind.
Well, the first thing is, how do you both safeguard your relationship?
Um, we safeguard it first of all by being honest and talking about problems or tough times and really being a support and being understanding. And of course, there's times that you're not gonna agree, but in the end, saying always reminds me we are a team, and so we are against each other, but we're gonna problem solve together
Mm-hmm.
and help. And I'm often stuff comes up, and 2024 was a pretty challenging time, and I really needed him a ton just to talk to and say it'll get better and such. And also, um, regarding protecting, I also say protecting is choosing the people who both of us surround ourselves, and our problems stay between us and do not get talked about with uh, other people.
Mm.
Yes.
And saying your thoughts.
And to add to that, I would say constant communication and also understanding is is perhaps the key. You know, just uh to be able to call each other, to be able to like check in, you know,
Mm-hmm.
check in from like time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, one of the questions that I was planning on asking was, what are some of your problems? So I won't ask you to share that in public now. Just a
Oh,
joke. Just a
no,
joke. Yeah.
I'll just say that my dad was in the hospital, and it really got to be tough going in every day and day out and being tired and exhausted and just having somebody to talk to. And also, I wanted to also state that I am no longer too proud to apologize and uh, saying too. It doesn't matter. It's just about being uh, understanding. It is about like who like scored like that time, like, oh, see, you were not, but it's about apologizing. even when sometimes you didn't have to, but because of you care, you do it.
Definitely, definitely. Now, would you both, remind the, refresh our, our listeners' message as to how you both initially met? How did you both meet?
Well, can I have Alina always tells it better, but
Okay.
but yeah, I'll just give you the quick version. Yeah, so like we as people who's who the starter come come to this a- annual conference hosted by the NSA, the National Stuttering Association. Um, it's a conference to come to like meet other people who the stutter, and also um, to attend workshops to better uh, understand stuttering. So so for the most part, yeah, we have each been coming in in individually. Um, yeah, so like so for the longest time uh we would just pass by each other at the conference. Um, haven't really all officially like met yet until one day um when I realized that Carolina didn't come to one of the conferences. So I messaged her on Teams. First as a stranger, of course. Asking her, uh, how come you didn't come to the conference? So like she like had her reasons. So yeah, so then one thing led to like another. We like we like started chatting more online. Um, I I was also able to visit visit Toronto for for like one of the speech therapies, and then Carolina offered to also like show like me uh around the city, uh which like was a nice thing to do. and, and then from like there just got more comfortable. Like being like two together, and then also like she also introduced me to my like first 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 time going on a cruise. So so that 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 was also fun, and also a great way to like know each other more.
Hmm.
Well, yes,
Yeah,
yes, because we all sort of had our our our, our first
that's
kiss on board that
Hmm.
sh- ship. So,
Now,
yeah,
no, well, I'm sure
ships are very special to us.
now,
So,
I'm curious. Now, I'm sure the listeners are wondering who, who made the first move to kiss.
I mean, I mean, we kind of were playing a game, and then we decided that the prize could be that. So,
Oh, okay. So we did have a nice, easy way to
right,
make
we
to
kind of,
make that
yeah.
first
right.
move.
After some time, like we're talking like a long time
Yeah.
had passed, like about 18 mm, months
Oh, 18 months.
after.
Okay. Oh,
Yes,
after. Okay.
we took our time.
Oh, yeah.
And also, he spoke to me on Facebook, not on, on Teams.
Oh, like
Facebook.
did I say Teams?
Yes,
Oh, okay, sorry.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
I meant
Yeah.
Facebook.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm. So what what were the feelings that you both were experiences when in these early stages, like in terms of were there a lot of apprehensions, feelings of fear? I mean, how how saying how do you approach Carolina and vice versa? What were some of the anxieties, the normal apprehensions about starting a relationship?
Okay. I would say, I would say for the most part, uh, the more challenging aspect of it is of like course of course the long like distance. Uh, you know uh, uh the ability right to right right meet up in the person like any traditional dating so like of course that was like one as aspect of it. um and then see yeah like uh like the like the like the other apprehension was perhaps our parents, right? Whether like right, they would uh uh then you know they would agree to it, support it, and of course, her parents have been very like nice, supportive, and like well welcoming.
Mm. And you, Caroline, what was some of the like feelings or emotions you
Well,
went through?
for me, I have to say that the day I had dinner with Sing in Toronto, the first time, I just kind of knew. I just knew that, like, this guy, he's somebody special. He's somebody I can depend on. because Sang was asking me about my job, asking me about like what I do, and just very um, i- interested. He also uh, paid for dinner, which doesn't seem to be such a big deal, but today sometimes people don't do that. So
You're right. You're
I
right.
took it as, oh well, that's nice. So that's kind of cool. And I knew, because I decided to do the CN Tower, the outside the climb, and I'm scared, but I
Mm.
did it to spend time, to be together. That's the only point for me doing it. So I knew, oh, Carolina, you are so invested. But I had already dated somebody in a long distance, and that did not go good. So I got scared, and my friend gave me a big pep talk and goes, "Go and get him, Carolina, get your man."
Okay.
I go, "I don't know what." He goes, "You don't know, girl. You've been saying, you're searching and you're like looking for someone. Now go and get him."
Mm-hmm. Strong advice. Good advice. Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
knowing that you both stutter, would that also like an attraction? Knowing that you both stutter.
Um, I'd call it more of a safety kind of like, I have an understanding person who knows about stuttering, who understands if I have a bad day, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also just uh like to add that I see the stuttering as just one of the common common like traits and interests that we uh like both have, we also love other like things like food and travel, so
Good.
that also makes it easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, common in interest,
Exactly.
definitely.
Yes.
Now, what are your thoughts about? I mean, as people of stutter, we know there are two types of stuttering. There's the being an overt stutterer as well as a covert stutterer. Now, if what are your thoughts about a person who stutters, who's interested in exploring a relationship with a non-stutterer?
So I've spoken to people who have hidden it, and to hide a stutter, it can cause a lot of turmoil, and it's also hard to be really present because you're constantly concerned about how you're going to answer back. And so you can't be your own true self because you're so concerned about um about hiding the stutter. And I say it's better to disclose because then you're gonna get down to the real person. And if the person you're dating doesn't accept you as a whole, that's a good indicator of it not being a good person. Or sometimes a person who will not like permit somebody to finish their uh, s- sentences, right? And to be understanding and to be patient. Now, it could also be our our job as people who stutter to also educate, especially your partner,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Definitely.
yeah, you have to talk about every topic,
Mm-hmm.
even those tough topics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And self disclosing for a person who stutters, who is meeting anybody, that 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 is stressful and can be traumatic as well. So it's this, but I think in the long
Oh
run,
no, totally,
Totally.
yeah,
totally.
definitely.
But I mean, if we're talking about a life partner, you're going to experience a lot of tough times.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's better to be open because someday, sometime, your stuttering's gonna uh, come out. Sometime.
See, one. I mean, based on my lived experience, when one can hide their stuttering for so long, but you're so right, Carolina, it will raise its ugly head.
Yeah.
You know. And what's your thoughts,
Wait,
saying
oh,
about that?
no, absolutely agree with Carolina, and also I also like to like to mention that also, right, the depending on your like severity of of like stuttering, you uh as, as some people people don't have that option because it's like, right, pretty obvious for like someone like us, right? So yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. Definitely, definitely. No, no. This is a $64 question here. What is your definition of love?
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is always a big question. Who wants to share first?
Okay, I go first. I would I would like really say like really just just like to find a partner that like come like completely understands you. You know, both for the like good traits and also the like not so good traits. You know, just um just like to be around a partner, you know, that that is always there to like pour like right like love and I support under any circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd also say somebody who'll stand tall during the hard times,
Mm-hmm.
during the times that you feel to give up, but don't, because there's just like there's a lot of like love. There's a lot of like you just care so much, and you can't imagine that person not being a part of y- 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 your life.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when you're talking about in a long uh, distance, there has to be a lot of trust. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't see that person for a long time sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to, believe and know that you have a relationship that's based on the honesty.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely, definitely, Carolina. Now, you know, well, I'm wondering now because you both are in a long distance relationship. How do you both schedule your time together? Because you both love traveling and things like that. So how you know how does the scheduling work?
So it's basically based upon uh, our our budget. And I tend to be the person that starts to scope out the trip, and then I'll talk to Sang and say, "Hey, babe, what about going to this place? And look at this, and look, like this looks really fun." And then we also every summer attend the stuttering conference. So that's automatic. And then try to do something near my birthday sometimes. So we just discuss the budget. We discuss our job, whether our busy times and what's possible. And it it really takes a lot of understanding, and sometimes you feel sad not to be together,
Hmm. Hmm.
but okay, we're going to go to this, and so that kind of, it helps. And I try to stay active and do activities and meet people and see things and do stuff to stay busy, because if I didn't, I'd be a puddle.
Hmm. I
Right?
understand
So
that. Yeah.
I, I, I haven't seen Sang since October.
Oh my God, that's too long saying, isn't it? Way too long.
Yes, but because we are gonna take a long trip, so that's the sacrifice, right? That's what you gotta do. You gotta do it.
We got to give and take, give and take.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, and
yes,
it
yeah,
all balances out in the long run.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
your thoughts,
Yeah,
Jerry?
and also like going back to what I mentioned earlier, that right, constant communication is the key for a strong and and healthy uh relationship. You know, we uh we would right, talk to each other every right, every night, you know, uh, to catch up on our day, to right, to also check in with each other before we before we go to bed. So uh,
Uh,
so I do feel like right, that is also one of the key components.
yeah.
Yeah.
definitely, definitely.
And this'll sound super corny, but Sangs bought me like this jewelry, this, and anytime I put it on, I do feel better, because I go, oh, Sang, oh, Sang, oh, Sang,
Mm,
right? Like, it, it helps. I
oh,
don't know, but to me,
definitely.
yeah.
But be beyond the jewelry, the most important thing, knowing that you both have given each other your hearts.
Oh, no, 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 totally,
That's the
totally,
most important thing.
totally, totally,
Yeah.
Greg. But sometimes just just touching this just makes you
Oh,
feel
of
better.
course, yeah, because you actually feel closer to him, you know. Oh, definitely,
Yeah, yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
definitely. So do you what does growing together mean to you both? Growing together as one.
I'd say being open about your struggles and also your victories. Being understanding as people grow. I'm a fiery girl Latina that like speaks my mind and like so sayings taught me like it's just calm down and I am like learning to not be as passionate about so many things, right? Because I'm passionate. I'm like, oh, this is right, this is wrong, right? So I've really um appreciated that he, he's understood that I am attempting to be better, to do better, to not be as like loud and rambunctious sometimes and like and to be more understanding. And it does take time, but I've been like progressing step by step, and just the understandings very appreciated.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And how about
yeah,
you, Sarah?
and of course, I'm also on the other side of the like spectrum. More calm, um, like more reserved. More kind of as mentioned previously. I'm more of an introvert, but then after meeting Carolina, I have like started like to also expand my comfort zone. You know, I I've been like more out out outgoing afterwards. So yeah, so I also see it's kind of like a little opposites. Uh, like track thing too, but like ultimately when it comes down to it, yeah, I would say just like patience and understanding.
Hmm. Well, on unfortunately, our time is up, and
Oh no.
I know. So so I would like to spend more time talking to my influencers, definitely champions. And now, now, before we close, do you have any last messages? A last message for our listeners?
I'd say that do not give up on finding that person, and also you have to sometimes get out of your own a comfort zone and go to that activity, go to stuff, and sometimes go by your s- self. I attended the stuttering conferences by myself, and then I started to know people, but you have to sometimes put yourself out there to be seen.
Risking you're talking about, Caroline. Taking the risk, taking the risk.
Yes. Yes.
challenge the fear. And
Yeah.
how about you, saying?
Mm, I would say, yeah, I would say like, something that is perhaps easier said than I done, but I would say in in like terms of your like stuttering, you know, don't like, don't like, see it as as a like a setback. I was not, it also right, it also doesn't define who you are.
Mhm.
It is just one of your like traits. So as a result, yeah, right, right, put, put your like your like self out there, and expand uh your like comfort zone, like Car Carolina said. The like more like times you do it, the like easier it becomes. And uh, and of course, don't ever give up.
Mhm.
Y- your person is out there. Just just have to find him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I mean, this has been a delightful conversation again, and
As
so
always.
definitely, I always look forward to, we will chat again for sure.
Yes. And I really hope that in July we will all be together
Caroline, I knew you were going to ask me that question.
in
Just,
person.
but
Yes, Greg.
unfortunately, the way the Canadian dollar is looking, it's very
Greg,
challenging. Yes,
it
yeah.
is going to be priceless.
One never knows.
Some Stutter Law is brought to you today with help from Memorial University, the Newfoundland Labrador Stuttering Association, and a whole team of volunteers behind the scenes, without whom today's episode would not have been possible.